Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today at another one of Centtrip's wonderful webinars. We're still working on the theme tune. So for those that don't know, my name is Thea. I used to be a chief stewardess for 10 years on vessels on 30 meters to 90 meters. And I am joined by Chris Dicken, who is our wonderful UX manager. So today we're going to be talking through our newest features on the global platform. So just a reminder that Centtrip Global is our new platform which provides additional features that are not available on our UK platform, a better user interface, more efficient workflows, faster feature development. So really just all round much better upgraded platform, bells and whistles, everything that you could want. And I will have to say, Chris, it looks very, very sleek and lovely. Well done, you.
Thank you very much.
Very nice. So also during the session, please place any questions that you may have in the chat. We'll do a Q&A session at the end. So anything that you may have on your mind, no matter what it is, pop it in there and we will answer it at the end of this webinar. So today I am very intrigued to see all the new features in action. And so without further ado, I'll now hand over to Chris to talk about all these newest updates. Over to you.
Thanks, Thea. Welcome, everyone. So today, as Thea says, we're going to be looking at the features which are going to be coming out over the next 3 months. So before we do that, I think it's just quite good to do a little recap of what we've actually gone out so far, and just give you kind of an idea about what Thea said there about the sort of frequent, the updates in Global, because we do try and get updates out every month and new features into the platform every month. So this year in January, we saw improvements to the navigation. So that's going from account to account. It's a little more straightforward with the new menu. In February, we released updates to batch payments. So you can make multiple payments to lots of different currencies, all, including FX, all in a single operation. March, we released a couple of things, actually. We released the PDF receipts. When you make payments, you get that sort of paperwork created for the transaction, and also the ability to activate cards via the platform. And also, busy month, actually, we released an update to the app. So let's talk about then what's happening this month and also in May and June. So this is what we're going to be talking about today. 3 main areas which are very exciting, significant changes to the Centtrip Global platform. The first one is about creating recipients, which actually came out last week. You may have seen it already if you've been adding a recipient to the platform. And that is a streamlined way of adding new recipients where we actually check account data while you're creating the recipient to make sure everything's being entered correctly. We've got some next month. We've got some changes to report generations. We're completely rewriting the way that Global generates statements and expense reports with more flexibility, with fewer clicks. So we're trying to make it just much easier to do really that stuff which you do, which people do every day. When we look at the stats in the platform, we look at the features people use. Actually, generating reports is something that most of our users do on a daily or even weekly or daily basis. So we wanted to just try and make that as quickly as easy as possible. And talking of making things easy as possible, we are introducing new dashboards. I think I gave a little preview of these back in January, but we got a bit more detail to show you on this, which is about admin functionality and trying to make some of those things you do every day much easier and quicker to access, and making it work really well on a mobile device as well, so you can actually use Centtrip on the go. So I don't know, what do you reckon, Thea? How does all that sound?
That sounds fantastic to me. I mean, in my experience as well, when I was working on board, one of the things that did tend to take quite a while, especially if things went wrong or weren't in the right place, was, the reporting and getting everything in order, making sure it was all in the right place, and how you were saying, only a few clicks now was quite time consuming. So really anything that helps reporting go smoother and quicker is really good, because that was quite a big pain point. And how you're saying more compatible on the phone, like more mobile friendly, fantastic, because when you're out and about on the go, you kind of want to stay on top of as much as possible to give yourself less work at the end. So having that, great, all sounds wonderful.
Yes, very
Bravo.
good. While you chief stewards are sipping your rosé wine and the marinas, you can approve all your payments and all that kind of business. Anyway,
you're not supposed to know that, Chris.
I'll be learning about your industry. Good. Anyway, I joke, of course. Let's talk about recipient creation. So adding beneficiaries into the Centtrip Global platform, and it has historically, especially in global, been quite time consuming, because you need quite a lot of information to add a beneficiary into Centtrip. You need the name and address of the beneficiary, and as well as the account details, and you also need the name and address of the bank. And there's extra information because we're not a bank. The way we work is slightly different, which means our compliance requirements are a lot stronger. So we do need quite a lot of information about recipients in order to be able to pay them. So what we've done is we've tried to streamline the process as much as possible to remove basically as many steps as we can in creating a recipient. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a preview of that now. We're going to take a look at that in the platform. There we are. I've remembered how to use my Mac. So here's the recipient list. We're going to create a new recipient, and we'll create a company. And we can enter some basic information about the company, sort of sailing supplies, all the usual sort of things you need. Just quickly pop an address in there. So this is still largely the same. We are adding address lookup over the next month or so to sort of make adding addresses easier. So that is coming. But the most interesting thing happens when you go on to the right-hand side here, because this is where you actually then enter the account details. So let's actually start with a classic one, which is adding an IBAN and a BIC for a French bank account. So we'll just select the country, select the currency, and you see there, because we've selected France and selected Euro, it's immediately come back and said, right, these are the fields you need to complete. There we are. We can enter our details there. And this is when the magic happens. You click check details. What it does is it checks with our online database of bank accounts. And it says, right, yep, we found the bank and the branch and the address corresponding to those account details. So rather than having to sort of dig out those and enter them into Global, they're all right there. They will just pull those in. You've got the ability to just copy those, they're there if you need them. And notice here, we've also got the account number and the routing code, because we basically, when we contact and we pull down that recipient information, we get every piece of information we can about that bank account. And that just means that, whatever payment rail you want to use, those account details are going to be ready to go. Let's have a look then at a slightly different example. Let's have a look at a UK account looking at pounds. Notice one thing here. Say if it was pounds, it's asking for account number and sort code. If we switch to euros, it asks for IBAN and Big Swift. So you've got that intelligence sort of built in there. So it works just as well with account numbers and sort codes. And so we can enter some real information there. And there we are. It's able to find that UK account. But let's have a look at, okay, those are what we call, in the trade, those are what we call happy paths. And happy paths is when everything's working great. But let's have a look at what happens if maybe you've got maybe you've copied something down wrong, or you've got slightly sort of incorrect information. What happens? Well, if you click check details, here I've just, as you can see, just entered a load of old rubbish. And click, it comes back and it says, no, sorry, that is not valid. We can't work with that. Okay, so now let's leave the bank account number as basically wrong. And now let's enter a correct sort code. At this point, it says, well, actually, you know what? We were able to find the bank and the branch that correspond to that sort code, but that account number we could not find. Are you absolutely sure it's correct? And so it asks you to confirm that it's correct before it lets you go ahead and create that recipient. And, you know, that's kind of your prompt to go, you know what, I'm just going to check that invoice again and make sure that I've copied that correctly. And we do verification of like length of IBAN numbers for country and so on and so forth. So the idea is just to get rid of sort of 90% of the things, well, more than that really, so 95% of the things that can cause you to create a recipient with duff information. We try to just kind of get rid of that kind of thing. And so the recipients you create within the platform, as well as being quicker, because the bank lookup takes out a huge amount of the information they used to have to enter manually, as well as being a lot quicker, you're going to end up with a recipient which is a lot accurate. So actually, I'm not going to go ahead and create that because I don't really need to see a multi-factor authentication flow today. But that's recipient creation. So it's a really good addition. That's live now. You can go and have a bit of a play with it after this if you want to sort of see it in action. But our changes to recipients don't end there, because we're hoping that it'll be later this month, if not very early next month. But we're going to be adding the ability to edit and delete recipients. So obviously important for keeping your recipient list sort of tidy and up to date. But more excitingly, even more excitingly, we're going to be adding the ability to copy a recipient from one account to another. And so if you create a recipient once, but you've got 20 other operating accounts, like 20 other yachts, you need to add that recipient to, you can do all that with a single operation. So that's going to be coming out soon as well. So excited to see that. And it doesn't end there, because later in Q2, we're going to be adding address lookup. And that's going to be international, so you can sort of check sort of French addresses, Spanish addresses, Italian addresses, American addresses. And a recipient approvals as well. So that means that when you add a recipient, you have the option to basically get someone else to check that recipient before it gets added as an extra security measure. So excited about those. So yeah, recipients really is going to be is starting to be transformed and improved. So good stuff there. Cool. So that's recipients. Let's have a look at part 2, which is reporting. So, yeah, reporting at the moment in Global, generating statements and expense reports and so on. It's okay, but it's a little bit time consuming. And the main reason it's time consuming is because you have to generate it for one account at a time, one card at a time, one currency at a time, all as a single operation. Which is fine if you've only got like 3 cards, but if you've got more than that, which most people do, it's going to be, it's going to take quite a lot of time. And also there's a 3-month limit also, so you couldn't sort of do like a statement for the last year in a single operation. So we've essentially got rid of all those limitations, and I'm looking forward. This is one I'm very excited about. Now, I am going to be going over to the platform I'm going to be using to demonstrate this is actually our development platform. And the thing about development platforms is the development team do like make changes to this. So if anything slightly odd happens while I'm doing this, that's why. Full disclaimer. But anyway, let's take a look at this feature. So I'm going to jump back to the current live version. Let's just show you how reporting works at the moment. So I'm going to just say pull up a statement. And let's say if I wanted to generate, if I clicked PDF now, it would just generate me a statement for the operating account in euros. If I then wanted to do a statement for a card, I'd have to change it to the card, generate the PDF, and do it one card at a time. If I wanted to do different currencies, then again, I would have to select the currency and generate the PDF. The way it works now, though, or the way it'll work soon, is a single export button here. And what this does is it gives you lots and lots of different options about how you can generate your statements. So let's do a PDF. We've got the option to include pending transactions if you want to include those in a statement. You've got the ability to, here, I can add additional currencies in, so I can print all those off as part of the same operation. If I wanted to do card statements at the same time, I can do that. I can select the specific cards I want, or I can just go select all to select all the cards to generate those statements for, and so on and so forth. So you've got like a lot of extra options. Images here is whether or not you want to include the receipts. And then the same thing works as well as for statements. We've got the ability to do your expense reports for cards. So if you every day, if you just want to run off a list of the card transactions from the previous day, you would you could just go sort of last 7 days, or just put in yesterday, update that, export that. You can then choose the cards to export those transactions for. You can confirm your filters. Those are all available there as well. Let's actually generate one. And the one I quite like, I like to do is account transactions, because there's so much data here, and we can really put this feature through its paces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this, and we're going to run off a report for the previous year. And this is something you, PDF. So previously you were limited for 3 months on PDFs. You can now generate those for as long as you want. Excel files, it's going to be a little bit shorter. It's going to be probably 6 months. But again, we can do all currencies and so on and so forth. Let's go ahead and run off that report. And you see here, you got a little window appearing at the top. I can carry on and, if I wanted to start off another report, I can do that here. Or I can go to other screens if I can carry on working, but that'll just carry on generating the report. And then when it's ready, I've got a whole year's worth of transactions in a PDF. And that was a 47-page PDF printed in about 10 seconds. So, and I've got all those ready to go, and I can just kind of send that to my printer or send that to my accountant, and I've got that there. So it's a really good, exciting addition, and it'll be the foundation for a lot of new reporting features as well. So for those of you who do charters, we're going to be adding in preliminary guest reports, final guest reports for charters, where with spaces for signatures and the ability to put your own logo in and things like that. So it really is, the reporting is going to be quite radically transformed, and we're very excited about that. Okay, and the last one in our little exciting preview is dashboards. And so what I mean by dashboards is, if I show you, go back to global, this is our current kind of dashboard, and it's okay. It shows you, like, you can see your account balances, you've got the quick transfer, you can see your recent transactions, but that's it. That really is all, in terms of what you can do on this, it's a little bit limited. It's okay. And what we're going to do is essentially turn the dashboard into a really sort of account at a glance. So you can see, as well as seeing all your balances, you can see for your accounts and your currencies, you can see your card balances. And you can also see payments that need approval. And you've got shortcuts, very easy shortcuts for making payments and changing currency. But I think the thing that's really going to change the way people use this is we're going to optimize it for mobile. So you can actually do a lot of this stuff and make a lot of this sort of things on the go. So if you get a little email saying, oh, there's a payment that needs approval, you can approve it while you're out and about. But let's have a look at a demonstration. Now this is, full disclosure, this is just sort of an interactive prototype. It's not quite ready to show you live yet. We've got a few more weeks of development to go on it. But what we're looking at here is the dashboard for an operating account called Yacht A. And if I wanted to see my other operating accounts, I can sort of navigate between them using these arrows as well as via the navigation. So I've got, so it's easy to sort of manage your different operating accounts. At the top here, we've got some alerts. This thing is telling me I've got cards nearing expiry. I've got some inactive cards, and I've got some payments that need approval. So we'll take a look at those. Next, I've got my balances, and I can scroll through those, and I can control exactly what currencies I see on that home page. So we only see the currencies we're interested in. Got shortcut buttons here for making a payment, changing currency. And then here, this is new. We're adding in a list of payments that you can potentially approve. So you can see an overview there. You can click on them to get a bit more of the detail in terms of the payments. And then if you click actions, that basically brings up the standard kind of approval sidebar. And you can click view batch and you'll go into and see all the payment details. But I can, if I need to, just go ahead and approve that payment or reject it. So you've got that sort of on the home page. And the other thing we're adding to the home page of the account is cards. So you can see the status of all your cards. You can see the balances of all your cards, all presented in a nice little list here. And then you can click on those and you can drill down and you can see, the most recent transactions on that card. And, if you click on those, you get the sort of expense view. So you can check labels, check receipts, and, similarly, you can flick between all the cards and go from card to card. If you need to top it up, you can just manage it and top up the balance and do whatever you need to do on that card. That's all there. So it's easy to manage cards as well. What else we got on these dashboards? Well, you can view your, pending transactions and your recent sort of cleared transactions. All your quick transfers, your fund transfers as well. And we're also adding in, if I go to admin home, we're changing this view as well. And this is sort of your helicopter view as a super admin. And you can check the balances of all your different accounts and see which accounts have got payments that need approval. So you can see at a glance sort of how everything's looking from here as well. So it's going to be a really quite dramatic change to how you sort of the feel really of using Centtrip Global. And we're really excited to launch that. So I guess the question then is when. Just to preempt some of the questions in the chat. So account lookup, this is for Recipient, is live now. Edit, deleting, copying, looking to get out in the first half of May. Excited about that one. And then approvals are going to be a bit later, but it's going to be first half of the year. Report generation, looking at May for that. We've got to do a little bit of testing with some live customer data and do a bit of beta testing with a few people. So, but we're aiming for May for that, towards the end of May. So looking forward to that. And then mobile friendly dashboards, we're aiming for June for that. So look out for those. And we'll once we've got something actually proper with real data to show you on those dashboards, we'll have another session. We'll really get stuck in and see those in action. So yeah, that is me, and that is Centtrip Global. So yeah, I think it'd be great now if you've got any questions really, and then we can go through those. Cheryl, have we got Cheryl online? This is our producer. Hello, Cheryl.
As usual. Hi, Chris. Thank you for that. Great webinar. I'm just having a look. So it doesn't look like we've got too many questions in the chat. I think you must have done a good job answering. However, we did have a couple of questions this week, which I think are quite relevant, that have come into our support site. So we had a couple of questions this week asking if it's possible to cancel payments once they've been sent. So I thought this might be a relevant time to ask with the recipient updates.
If although there isn't the ability within the platform to cancel a payment, if you ring up our team, generally, every payment that goes out is checked by our treasury team, and the treasury team, who are supporting Talkie regularly, will be able to get those payments or organize that for you. So you've got that. You've got that resource available to you from Centtrip.
And if you're not sure who to get in contact with that, you can always message help, and then they'll be able to direct you to the correct part to get that seen to for you.
Yes, I'm just talking of chats. I just realised I forgot to post the little thing with all our links for contacting help or for registering for extra information.
That
so
would be
that's added
useful.
to the chat now as well.
That would be helpful.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. And then one other question that came in relating to reports this week. We've had people asking if it will be possible to add a logo to those reports, obviously for when they send it out to their charter clients.
Yeah, we are aiming to do that. So let me go back to the present, go back to our little report thing here. So at the top of the home report, obviously you've got this area here, and this is full of Centtrip information. The idea is you can basically, we're going to make it so you can switch out this for your own company information. So that's going to be there.
Perfect. Thank you. And then one more question that's just popped in. Will the UK platform be replaced by Centtrip Global?
I think what we wanted, the plan is to, you know, the Centtrip UK platform is over 10 years old now. And so I think just part of the sort of natural life cycle of technology is it's good to make sure you're on something and you're using something which is maintained. So yeah, ultimately the goal is to help all our users move on to the global platform because we think it is, you know, the features are either equivalent or better than on the UK platform. Right now, there's a couple of things missing on global. So we're not sort of going to be making people move quite yet, but we want to have those conversations with our customers and anyone who, you know, who's got, you know, and you know, answer all your questions, have those conversations, yeah, in a few months' time, the feed it's going to be a sort of like for like from a functionality point of view. The other features which we'll be talking about over the next few months are like card alerts and notifications. For those of you who use Centtrip now for moving money between Centtrip accounts, we're going to be adding that into global as well. So it'll soon be sort of the very much like, you know, much like for like functionality wise, and in fact, global will be better.
Perfect. Thank you, Chris. But ultimately, it's not going to happen overnight. I think that's
no.
Nobody needs to worry.
Definitely not.
No.
We're not just going to suddenly cut it off. And
ultimately, it's going to be a better platform long term for our customers. So we want to make sure, you know, we want to sort of, but we're not going to, you know, for those of you in the marine industry, it is the start of the season now. We're not going to be rocking any kind of boats for a little while yet.
Perfect, good analogy. So we've had a couple of other questions as well. Can we generate MT103s or proof of payments from the platform?
Yes, let me show you that now. Go to expenses, account expenses. I've got a one here I did the other day, which has got, I know is cleared, so we'll be able to show you all of that. So this is a Swift payment that went out the other day. You click on that in account expenses, and you'll have the ability to generate and view the MT103. And so I'll just wait for that to come in. That's a good long hard think.
It's always slower on the demo, isn't it?
It is always slower on the demo. There it be. There it is. So you've got that information there. And in terms of payment confirmations, yeah, those are available as well and generated from the platform. So you can view those and so you've got your confirmation of the payment, including all the various references and account details used for that payment.
Perfect, thank you. And then one more, unless anyone wants to sneak any last minute questions in. Are there any changes intended for FX processing?
FX. Not We're adding the ability to view details of any FX forwards that you've arranged through us and booked through us. We're going to include the ability to add those details into and view those details from the platform. But in terms of the actual UX of FX and this sort of underlying functionality of like making a spot trade in the platform, payments with FX, batch payments with FX, that's going to be no other changes in those three planned over the next few months. But if you've got a particular thing you would like to see improved, talk to your relationship manager. They'll pass it on to me, and we'll definitely, if it's we'll definitely take a look and see what we can do to improve any headaches there.
Perfect. Thanks, Chris. I think that's all the questions we've got.
Lovely.
Nice. That was a good amount of questions we had there.
Thank you. Thanks all.
Well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. And Chris, again, thank you for a lovely webinar.
Thanks for hosting.
You're very welcome. It was really great to see all those new features in action. And like I said, anything that makes it easier, quicker along the way, like the copying and editing the recipients to other accounts, things like that. It's going to save so much time. Really great. Even looking forward to the next one already now. Well, if you have any more questions for us, or you want to know about upgrading or opening an account, please get in touch with us. Everything is in the chat at the moment. So feel free to reach out to us and we'd be happy to have a chat with you. Email, phone call, anything you like. Well, until the next webinar, hope to see everyone there again. But until then, everyone have a wonderful week and a weekend ahead.